Hey everyone, I'm Harley, and in this video I'm going to be talking about how I would change the Generation 3 gym leaders to make them a bit more difficult for the player. This is in context to the Pokemon Emerald ROM hack that I've been making called Pokemon Edited Emerald, and I hope you enjoy the changes that I make. Please let me know if you think these are good changes and anything else you'd like to add. So I'll be going over the different teams that they're going to be having. So a lot of them are going to have different Pokemon. Some of the Pokemon I've actually changed the typing on as well. For example, Volbeat, I made a Bug Electric type, so that now features in the Electric Gym. There are also some moves that got their power, accuracy, or effect updated. I'll cover those when I get to them, just to kind of explain why these Pokemon have these moves, when usually you probably wouldn't see anyone using them. A lot of these Pokemon also have updated stat lines as well, which I'll kind of cover if it's relevant, but if it's not, you can always have a look on the Google Slides presentation that I've made that kind of details all the changes to individual Pokemon that I've made. I'll try not to ramble too much in this introduction, so we'll go on to our first gym leader. So in base Pokemon Emerald, Roxanne has 2 level 12 Geodudes and a level 15 Nosepass. None of these are really a threat to anything, to be honest. You can catch a lot of water and grass type Pokemon early on in Emerald, so the Geodudes can be taken care of really easily by any stab move that they learn. Nosepass is a bit different. It is bulkier and it's just a pure rock type, so you can't exploit a 4 times weakness. And it has pretty good special defense, actually. It has really good physical defense as well, so trying to tackle this if you don't have grass or water moves at this point, it's really not going to work out for you. I think it's a good way of making sure the player has those kind of moves, like whatever it is, Absorb, you get the Bullet Seed TM already, whether you've got Water Gun or something. The only Pokemon to have a held item is Nosepass, who just has an Oran Berry. I think this is completely fine. Roxanne herself has 2 potions to use. The AI can be a bit weird about that sometimes. On top of this, you've already fought a bunch of Geodudes. There are some trainers on the route just after Rustboro City that have Geodudes that you've probably fought. A bunch of trainers in the gym. I think they all just have Geodude as well. So she's really not bringing anything new apart from Nosepass, who in itself doesn't really have any defining traits that make it threatening. Overall, I think this gym just offers no real pushback against the player, especially considering Rock Tomb was such a weak move in Generation 3, only having 50 power and 80 accuracy. Yeah, it will lower your speed if it hits, but 20% of the time it's not hitting, and it's not dealing that much damage either. I've made some pretty major changes to Roxanne, actually. Some of the other gym leaders didn't really get this many changes, but Roxanne did, just because I really felt she was underwhelming, even as a first gym leader. I know they're meant to be easy, but this is just downright insulting. So instead of 2 Geodudes, I've actually given her the 2 fossil Pokemon of the region, Lileep and Anorith. Lileep is kind of threatening. It doesn't do too much damage with its moves, considering it's just Absorb, Rock Tomb and Acid, but it is fairly tanky, especially for this early. It's also a rock and grass type, so you can't just use grass or water moves from your starter or from something that you've already caught to try and take it down with super effective attacks. I also did buff Rock Tomb to its Gen 6 stats, I believe. So it has 60 power and 95 accuracy, which actually makes this move quite strong at this point. You really do want to watch out for them spamming Rock Tomb on you. Most players will probably have caught maybe 1 or 2 Pokemon by now, but you are likely going to need at least 2 to 3 pretty strong team members to really get through this team. After Lileep, she'll throw out Anorith, who has a really impressive base attack stat for this point. This combined with having a buffed Fury Cutter that's now base 40 power, you really don't want that to start building up Fury Cutter power, otherwise it's definitely going to take out a lot of your Pokemon. I kind of debated whether Anorith should be on this team or not. Initially I just had Lileep, Geodude and Nosepass, because Anorith does feel really strong this early, but being a rock and bug type, I feel like having water type options for this gym kind of takes care of Anorith, especially since its special defense isn't very good. Bug is also super effective on grass types, so you can't just rely on a grass type to get through this gym, even if they're able to withstand Lileep and take it down. A lot of changes were also made to Nosepass, the most obvious being it's now a rock and electric type Pokemon. I also adjusted its stats quite severely. I gave it like 30 more HP. I took away some defense, but also gave it a lot of attack, special attack, and a little bit of speed as well. I'll put on screen what its new stats are so you can have a look at them, but I still don't think it's that challenging, especially as Thunder Shock is quite weak. Thunder Wave is there to throw a little bit of resistance in there. You'll still need to watch out for those Rock Tombs, but they'll not be doing as much damage as Anorith was with them. The electric type also helps to cover any water types that you might have used to try and get rid of Anorith. Overall, I think this is a much more challenging battle than it was before. Having the two fossil Pokemon that have pretty good stats for this point in the game really provides that level of extra challenge, along with having those additional typings that cover Rock's typical weaknesses, especially when a lot of the time you can just pick up like a Shroomish or a Lotad and you're just fine in the gym, like you just don't have to worry. Now you have to be a little bit more careful, and as I said earlier, I buffed Rock Tomb's damage and accuracy to its modern standards, so the reward for getting through this fight is actually a really good TM that you might actually keep for a very long time. The next gym leader available to the player is Brawly, so you don't actually have to take on Brawly right away, you can just delay him if you want to, but I'm just going to assume that this is the player's second gym battle, like Emerald usually does. So Brawly in base Pokemon Emerald is quite interesting. His Pokemon know moves that they really shouldn't, but none of the Pokemon that he has are particularly threatening in any way. I'll go over them now. So Machop is fairly standard. It just has Karate Chop, Low Kick, Seismic Toss, and Bulk Up, the TM that you get for defeating Brawly. This is okay. There's nothing special here. It's just a fighting type. Pretty plain, pretty simple. After that he uses Meditite, which has Focus Punch as its only move. I guess this is an interesting way to introduce Focus Punch to the player in case they come across it again, but it's quite rare that you do. I don't really know what the intention was here, considering a lot of players are just going to be clicking attacking moves anyway. It also comes with Light Screen and Reflect, which I suppose are interesting enough. Yeah, it can help with the team's bulk so they can take more hits, but I don't think Brawly ever actually uses these. I think he just clicks Focus Punch because it's the only damaging move that he has. And then obviously majority of the time it's not going to deal any damage because you're hitting Meditite. Last up is Makuhita. Now Makuhita does have an interesting move. It has Reversal. If Makuhita has already stacked up bulk ups, so you're kind of doing little bits of damage to it, it has a citrus berry so it can heal, but if you've got it to low health and you don't knock it out and it clicks Reversal, it's probably taking out one of your Pokemon if you're not ready for it. I actually don't like this very much. Makuhita should not have Reversal. It's the very last move that it gets in its entire learn set, in the late 40s, I think, and there's no other way to get this. I know they're gym leaders, I don't mind giving them moves that they probably shouldn't have, but Reversal feels really weird to me. It's a complete gimmick, and I don't know why Brawly has to rely on this. There's other options. Overall, as you can tell, I don't really like Brawly. I don't get what he's trying to do or what the developers want him to do. Machop is too basic, Meditite just doesn't work, and Makuhita, you just have to either know it has Reversal, so you just take it out when it's at like half health, or you just get absolutely bodied by a max power Reversal because you didn't know. There's also absolutely no coverage here whatsoever. Every single attacking move on all three of his Pokemon are all fighting type moves. This means you can bring something like a Kadabra or just anything else that resists fighting or is even immune to them, like Sableye, by the way. You can just take Sableye to this and nothing will happen to it because they have no means of hitting it. I didn't change Brawly too much, I just given him some coverage and a different Pokemon than Meditite. So he starts with Machop as usual, still level 16, still knows Karate Chop, but this time has Rock Throw and Knock Off, so he can hit Sableye and can also deal super effective damage to Psychic types, even though Knock Off is a special move. I did buff Knock Off, so it does have 60 power, so if you do have a held item, say you have a Kadabra and Machop actually hits it, I doubt it would, but if it does, it might do some damage. It's probably not going to knock it out or anything, but it is there now. Brawly's second Pokemon has actually been changed to Zangoose, which is now a normal and fighting type in this game. I thought I'd give Seviper Poison Dark, so I was like, you know what, why not? Let's just give Zangoose a secondary type as well, and it kind of helps Brawly have a different Pokemon on his team. It doesn't have a fighting type attacking move, but it does have Quick Attack, Fury Cutter, Leer, and Bulk Up. The idea of this is, well, to get rid of any Psychic types you might have with Fury Cutter, and then Quick Attack to get some quick knockouts, because Zangoose's attack stat is very high, and if you let this thing bulk up, you are in some real trouble. Last up is Malkahita still, but this time with Knock Off, Vital Throw, Fake Out, and Bulk Up. Fake Out's just there so it can get a turn 1 quick hit on you. Knock Off so it can actually hit Ghost types. Still not going to do much damage with it, but at least it can fight back. Still has Bulk Up to get its stats up, so if you're using physical attackers and you're struggling to knock it out and it keeps bulking up, you're going to have a problem. And then Vital Throw is just kind of the most consistent damage option it has. Yeah, Vital Throw makes it move last, but Makahita's really slow anyway, so it's just the most consistent form of damage it could have at this point that isn't completely unfair, like Reversal, or if I were to give it like Revenge or something. Overall, this team less emphasizes on support and on the weirdness that they were going for before. This just takes a more direct offensive approach, adding in some coverage, changing up a meta type for a Zangoose, which is a lot more threatening and you will have to watch out for it. I don't think this gym is very difficult even with these changes, but Brawly never was in the first place. It's hard to balance a fighting type team that struggles to have coverage over psychic types, especially this early on. The third gym leader is Watson, who uses electric type Pokemon. The first one he sends out is Voltorb. This is quite a weak Pokemon. I know it's still early, but Voltorb is still rather unimpressive. It's not strong offensively or defensively. It is fast, but that's kind of the only thing it has for it. It has some pretty interesting moves. Rollout is pretty cool. Spark is good for damage. It does also have Shockwave, so you don't really need both, but I guess they're there. It does have Self-Destruct, though. Self-Destruct probably will knock out anything that doesn't resist it, just because the explosion moves in Gen 3 are insane, and in my version of the game I've kind of tried to remove any access to them just because they're so ridiculous by trainers and by yourself as well. He also has an Electrike, again very weak, doesn't really do a lot. Shockwave, Leer, Quick Attack, Howl, whatever, you know. It's not a challenging Pokemon to take out at all. Then he has two really, really good Pokemon, and these have been really difficult for a lot of people. So Magneton, very early to have a Magneton, by the way. Magnemite evolves at level 30. I don't know what he's doing with a level 22 Magneton, but here it is. It has Supersonic, Shockwave, Thunderwave, and Sonic Boom. Very, very annoying if it hits Thunderwave and Supersonic on you. You're just never going to have a turn. Shockwave does a lot of damage if you're not a ground type, and Sonic Boom is there for guaranteed damage if you are a ground type. Very, very threatening. A really good Pokemon to have for a third gym leader. His last Pokemon is also an underleveled Manectric. This Pokemon has really good stats at this point in the game. It has Quick Attack, Thunderwave, Shockwave, and Howl. Not too great. It's alright. Shockwave will do a lot of damage if you're not a ground type. And if you are, it can kind of set up Howls and use Quick Attack on you if you don't defeat it quickly. Shockwave is a nice move to have. It's a good TM option. I haven't changed it at all just because it's pretty standard. It's just 60 base power and can't miss. Having a Citrus Berry on Manectric is also really good. It means if you get it half health, it'll heal a little bit back. So it can kind of be a bit of a pain to take down, and Watson has 2 Super Potions as well. Overall, I think Watson's actually a very good third gym leader. He has 2 really threatening Pokemon, but the other 2 are kind of whatever, you just kind of get through them. But I guess they can weaken your team before you get to the 2 major threats. Ground types are a bit of a problem for his team. If you picked Mudkip in Vanilla Emerald, you can pretty much just sweep his team with a Marsh Stomp and Mud Shot. But other than that, the only option I think is Geodude at this point. Geodude would probably do pretty well. It would just have to watch out for Supersonics from Magneton, but apart from that, it does really well. So, in my attempt to kind of make this more challenging, I tried to keep that in mind. My new and improved Watson has slightly higher levels across the board just because there's a lot of experience that you can gain in the time between Brawly and Watson. And he actually starts with a Volbeat, which is now Bug and Electric type, like I said at the beginning of the video. It has Leech Life, Silver Wind, Moonlight, and Shockwave, so it can hit you from both Bug and Electric type stat options. It also has Moonlight to heal itself if it gets low health. Volbeat has also had some stat changes. Volbeat now has 85 attack, 75 special attack, and 85 speed, so it's a bit more offensively powerful, but it's lacking a bit in defenses. So really, you just want to take it out as quick as you can, especially if it's threatening any member of your team. I thought I would put Volbeat here just to show off its new typing. I know one of the trainers in the gym uses Volbeat, but it's always nice to just show it off again, you know? Try and make it actually useful rather than the complete garbage that it was beforehand in regular Emerald. After that is Plusle, who also got some stat changes. It now has 90 attack, 90 special attack, and 100 speed, so it's kind of like an even better version of Volbeat. It's still pure electric, though. It's also focused purely on electric type damage. It has Shockwave, Charge, Quick Attack, and Thunder Wave. Again, if you have a ground type option, well, I think it would only be Geodude, because the starters have changed. But yeah, if you bring a Geodude against Plusle, it will just go down. You'll be completely fine. What it won't be completely fine against is actually Magneton, who now gets Steel Wing. There's not many Steel-type move options in Generation 3. There's like Metal Claw and Iron Tail and Steel Wing, and that's it. And out of all of them, I just went, you know what, Magneton can have Steel Wing. Just imagine it's using its little magnet things as wings, I guess. It still has Shockwave, Thunder Wave, and Sonic Boom. So the only move that I've swapped out is Supersonic, just because Supersonic is really annoying, and the steel coverage was desperately needed on this team. Last up is Manectric, still holding that Citrus Berry, still has Quick Attack, Thunder Wave, and Shockwave, but instead of Howl, it now has Bite, so it can use its special attack for a different coverage option. Overall, I don't think this fight has changed that much, but swapping out Voltorb and Electrike for Volbeat and Plusle just gives Watson even more firepower than he had before. And he's also got more coverage now that Magneton actually has Steel Wing and Manectric has Bite now. Hoenn's fourth gym leader is the Fire-type user Flannery. She starts with two underwhelming Pokemon again. She starts with a Numel and a Slugma. Both have really bad stats, and they're really low leveled for a gym leader at this point in the game. They're both level 24, which was the level of the ace of the last gym, which was quite a while ago now. She also has an underleveled Camerupt as well as a Torkoal. These two are okay. Camerupt is probably stronger, but being a fire ground type means it's really, really weak to water type attacks. However, Flannery kind of tries to deal with this by having Sunny Day on most of her Pokemon, so she tries to set up the sun, and then water types will deal less damage. All of her Pokemon also pack Overheat, which is actually really scary, just 140 base power stab move aiming right at your face, especially if that's in the sun. You really do need something that resists fire to take this gym on effectively. For some reason, only her Numel has Magnitude, her Camerupt just doesn't, and her Camerupt and Torkoal have a move slot taken up by Attract. No idea why, I don't actually think I've ever seen her use it. Body Slam on Torkoal is quite nice. If that can land a paralysis on one of your Pokemon, Torkoal might actually be able to outspeed it, but it's kind of unlikely that's going to happen. Her Torkoal does hold a White Herb though, meaning when she uses Overheat and her special attack is reduced by 2, it actually restores her special attack back to normal, so she can use 2 Overheats with her full special attack stat. Overall, I can kind of see what they were going for. Just blasting Overheat in the sun is definitely an option that a fire-type gym leader has, and it kind of works, but her Pokemon are a bit lacking in power. 2 unevolved Pokemon that are just completely terrible. Camerupt being 4 times weak to water, they're all very slow as well. Any decently fast Pokemon can outpace any of these lot really easily. My main concern with Flannery was just that her team is underpowered, so I wanted to give her a couple of Pokemon that are a bit more powerful and just kind of see how that goes. The new Flannery has higher levels again, same as Watson. There's just a lot of time in between these two gym leaders where you can definitely overlevel the gym leaders in base Emerald, and especially now where a lot of trainers are going to be using some more evolved Pokemon, I thought it'd be appropriate to increase the levels a little bit. This time she starts with a Ninetales, actually. This is a much faster fire type than the one she was using before. It's decently strong, it's not too strong, in my opinion. Still carries Overheat, has extra sensory for coverage as well as Will-O-Wisp to try and get burned. Also has Sunny Day, because that's a pretty good staple for her team. After that, she now has a Macargo. Slugma actually evolves much earlier in Edited Emerald than it does usually. It carries Overheat, Rock Slide, Yawn, and Sunny Day, kind of similar to Ninetales has Overheat for damage, Rock Slide for coverage, Yawn for a status, and then Sunny Day to set up. She still keeps her camera up, has Overheat, actually has Magnitude this time, as well as Sunny Day, and then Headbutt, just in case she needs some neutral damage. She also keeps her Ace Torkoal with a White Herb, running Overheat, Sunny Day, Body Slam, and Flamethrower. I thought I'd throw Flamethrower in there, just in case she didn't want to use Overheat for some reason, although she probably will. All of the Pokemon that Flannery uses got slight stat buffs. Ninetales got a bit of special attack, Camerupt got some HP, Macargo actually got some more detailed stat changes, so I'll put Macargo's stats on the screen so you can have a look at those, and Torkoal also got a slight bit of special attack as well. Overall, I've not changed Flannery's strategy because I think it's a pretty good one, being able to set up the sun and then deal massive damage with Overheat. Giving her some Pokemon with higher base stats will make it harder to just knock them out before they can do anything. Still though, this gym can be pretty easily beaten by any water, rock type, something like that. And of course, if you have the ability to change the weather at this point, then this fight becomes really easy, especially if you have a rain setter. The player's next goal in Pokemon Emerald, and I mean like the immediate next goal, is to go and beat Norman, the 5th gym leader who uses normal types. Unfortunately, Hoenn doesn't really have many interesting normal types, and he has a decent variety of them here. He starts with a Spinder that has Teeter Dance, Psybeam, Facade, and Encore. Pretty nice, a couple status options, a coverage move, and Facade is his TM move. Then he is Vigoroth with Slash, Facade, Encore, and Feint Attack. Don't really need Slash if you've already got Facade, but whatever. Then Linoone with Slash, Belly Drum, Facade, and Headbutt. That Belly Drum is pretty scary if Linoone manages to get it off and you're not taking it out. Norman's last Pokemon is what I think gives most players trouble, and it's his Slacking. Slacking has base stats equivalent to the legendary Pokemon in this game, but because of its ability it can only act once every other turn, which can just be exploited by using Protect or Dig or Fly or Dive, stuff like that. There's not really anything I can do about this. I could maybe remove Truant as the ability, but I didn't want to just because I like Slacking how it is. I think having Truant and having really high base stats, I don't think it's an amazing design for a Pokemon, but I understand where it was going. To be completely honest, I am not changing any of his Pokemon. I could give him some stuff, like there's Delcatty or Swellow. I made Seeking a normal type as well, but I think these Pokemon all fit in other gyms, or in Delcatty's case I think it's just too weak. Even though I did buff some of its stats, I don't think it really has a place on this team here. So my main focus when trying to give this gym a bit more difficulty was to just see what other moves I could give these Pokemon. On top of this, level 27 is a bit low at this point, so I just buffed Spinder and Vigoroth to be level 29. One major change about Spinder is that I buffed its stats. They got improved quite a lot, and Spinder also gets the huge power ability now, so I didn't buff its attack stat anymore, I buffed its other stats, but it now has huge power, so its attack stat is basically doubled. On top of Spinder's kind of gimmick with confusion, if you get confused by this, hit yourself, and then have to take a couple of attacks from it, they are going to hurt. The only move changes I made was that I gave it Dizzy Punch over Encore. Not really a real reason to do it, like Facade is there, Teeter Dance is there, but hey, why not have the chance to confuse with an attack? Vigoroth now has Slack Off instead of Slash, just so it has a bit of healing. So you get a bit low and it heals back up and you're kind of struggling to kill it. Maybe it could put up a bit of a fight, but it probably won't. Linoon got a 20-point buff to both of its attack stats, so it can hit a bit harder, and with Belly Drum, if again it gets that off and gets to live a turn or two, you're really going to be in some danger. I also gave it Dig as a coverage move, and I guess just to stall any confusion that Spinder might have set up earlier. Slacking still holds the Citrus Berry, so if you get it to half health, it will restore a bit. Then for the moves, I've given it Shadow Ball, Yawn, Facade, and Brick Break. Shadow Ball and Brick Break there for coverage. Facade, always good, always deals a lot of damage, as well as Yawn to hopefully put an enemy to sleep. I took away Counter, actually. I didn't really like that Norman just had that sitting there. It meant if you were to take a fighting type to this, say Machoke or Breloom or Combuskin at this point, you just want to click a fighting move on it just to deal as much damage as you can. You're not really going to know that Slacking has counter, and it's just going to wipe the floor with you, or at least just for that Pokemon. But again, it's another kind of gimmick effect that I didn't like with Brawly and Reversal on Makuhita. So I went ahead and removed that just because it's really frustrating to get around, and the coverage options are something you really should expect a Slacking to have, especially as you're going to be fighting quite a lot of them in Emerald actually, and in Edited Emerald they're still there, and the ones that have edited movesets will have these coverage options. Winona is the next gym leader, and I don't quite understand what is going on with her. So, for some reason, she has 2 level 29 Pokemon. We just fought a gym leader that had level 29 and level 31 Pokemon. Why are we still fighting level 29 gym leaders? You've unlocked Surf. You have access to every Surf route that's currently available. There's so many trainers to fight. You've got an entire route to do. A little Team Aquabit. There's a rival fight. There's so much to do. And her level just goes up by 2 from the last gym leader? Okay, Winona. Whatever. She starts with a Swablu. Okay. Perish Song is interesting. Don't know why you have it, but I guess it's there to try and get something. Mirror Move is pointless. You're never really going to want to use a move that the enemy used, because it's probably a stab move, and it's probably going to be resisted by them. Safeguard is alright. Protects from status, I guess. And then Aerial Ace, which is the TM move, which is okay. It's alright. Then she sends out Tropius, which has Sunny Day, Aerial Ace, Solar Beam, and Synthesis. This is pretty alright. Sunny Day to set up Sun, Synthesis heals more in the Sun, Solar Beam can instantly go off under it, and then Aerial Ace just for her flying move, I guess. This is fine. Level 29 isn't, that's way too low. Tropius also kind of sucks. And in this game, Tropius is a Grass and Dragon type, so sorry Winona, you no longer have a Tropius. Then she has a Pelipper, which would be good, but it has Water Gun, Supersonic, Protect, and Aerial Ace. Don't know what it's doing with Water Gun. The player has Surf. Just give her Pelipper Surf. Just do it. It would make it a lot better, right? And it's good against Rock types, which is good against her team. Then she has a Skarmory. Skarmory's a really good Pokemon. Sand Attack, Fury Attack, Steel Wing, and Aerial Ace is okay. Steel Wing and Aerial Ace are good, but you'd rather Sand Attack and Fury Attack just not be there, so she just doesn't have the opportunity to click them. Just waste her turn doing, no damage. And then the only Pokemon I think of any danger to any player is Altaria, which has Earthquake for some reason, and then Dragon Breath, also Dragon Dance, and Aerial Ace. This is really scary. Altaria is quite bulky, so getting off a Dragon Dance is pretty easy for her. If you're trying to use an electric type or a rock type to beat this gym, she has Earthquake for that. Dragon Breath can paralyze you, maybe waste your turns, makes you definitely slower than her. And then Aerial Ace can never miss, if you're trying to do some accuracy shenanigans, but you probably aren't. Overall, I think Winona is incredibly weak and needs some major work done to her team to make her of any good quality of an opponent to the player. Her Altaria is good, don't get me wrong. That Altaria is quite scary, but the rest of her team just does absolutely nothing. Also, she had a Swellow in Ruby and Sapphire. Where is that gone? Why has she got a Swablu? My version of Winona actually starts with a Ninjask. I know this doesn't really fit the vibe that she was kind of going for, but it's a flying type and it's not really seen anywhere else, so I thought, why not give it to her? It has Signal Beam for stab, Dig for coverage, Sword Stance to set up, and Aerial Ace. Remember, it also gets speed boost, so if it manages to set up a Sword Stance, get a speed boost, and lives a turn, then you're in trouble. Her whole team now starts at level 35, and her Altaria is now level 37 as well, just because the amount of experience you can gain between Norman and Winona is massive, and I have no idea why the developers only improved her Ace's level by 2 over Norman. Next up, her Swellow returns, this time having Steel Wing, Aerial Ace, Quick Attack, and Facade. So Steel Wing is just there for coverage, Aerial Ace, Quick Attack, just good stab moves, as well as Facade, and if you inflict any status condition on this, that Facade is going to hurt a lot. Then she has a Pelipper, this time with Surf. Nothing else really changed, just Surf, Supersonic, Protect, and Aerial Ace. I think Pelipper's pretty good. It's not too great of a Pokemon, but it's there just to cover any rock types that you might have brought. She also still has a Skarmory, this time with Toxic and Screech, with Steel Wing and Aerial Ace instead of Sand Attack and Fury Attack, because those two moves are awful, and Toxic is kind of what Skarmory is known for. Well, that and Setting Spikes. Also has Screech, just to debuff you if you're kind of struggling against a wall like Skarmory. It can really batter you down. Last up is her Altaria, which hasn't really changed too much. I've switched out the Oranberry. I don't know why it was only an Oranberry in Emerald, but now she's got a Citrus Berry, so it heals more when you get it to half health. Still has Dragon Dance, still has Earthquake, still has Aerial Ace, but this time instead of Dragon Breath, she has Twister. Now, I buffed Twister in this game to be 80 power, 100 accuracy, so it's the same power as Dragon Claw, but it still retains the flinch chance that base Twister had. I did this because there's quite a few Dragon-type Pokemon in Pokemon Emerald that don't have an option that is more powerful than Dragon Breath. Altaria does, but I thought Twister fits it more. Like, Altaria can have Dragon Claw, but I was more thinking of the likes of Kingdra, who, well, Kingdra doesn't have claws, it can't use Dragon Claw, so what dragon move is it using? Dragon Breath, I guess, but it's not that strong. So I thought, hey, why not just give them Twister that's a bit more powerful than it was before? I don't think it really harms anything, and the Pokemon that get Twister as coverage can now really use that against Dragon-type Pokemon. Also, I think Twister is quite visually a strong move, right? Just imagine this big draconic wind tornado thing just heading towards you and it has 40 base power? No, that didn't seem right to me. So I buffed Twister in this game, just because I think it really does help out some Pokemon and kind of gives them a little bit of flavour as well. Next up is the first ever double battle gym leaders. So Tate and Liza are a double battle. They're twins or something, I don't know, but they use psychic type Pokemon, and this fight was done really, really well in Pokemon Emerald. In Pokemon Sapphire they just had Lunatone and Solrock and that was it, but in Emerald they added Claydol and Xatu. Claydol provides a lot of value here with Earthquake, especially with Xatu being a flying type, and Lunatone and Solrock having Levitate means it can just spam that without really caring about hurting its allies, which is really nice. Ancient Power is there for some coverage, maybe a chance of getting a stat boost, Psychic for stab, and Light Screen to help minimize damage. Next up is Xatu. Xatu is Psychic for damage, Sunny Day to set up something later, but is also kind of useful now because the player has access to Surf, one of the stronger moves to use during this battle, and Sunny Day obviously lowers the damage that Surf does. It has Confuse Ray to stall opponents, as well as Calm Mind to maybe set up, do some more damage, tank some more hits. However, Lunatone's a bit uninteresting. Light Screen is okay, but not having both Light Screen and Reflect kind of means it can't be a pure screen setter, but it's still good regardless. Psychic is good damage, it has Hypnosis and Calm Mind, so it's missing Rock Stab. Not that it's going to do much damage with that because Lunatone's attack stat isn't too high, but I feel like it is missing a little bit of something. Solrock has Sunny Day, Solar Beam, Psychic, and Flamethrower. The only problem with this, again, there's no Rock Stab, and Solrock has a good physical attack stat. It could really do with using Rock Slide here, especially during a double battle where Rock Slide is really, really good. Setting up Sunny Day for Solar Beams is fine, but Solrock's special attack isn't the best, so it's not going to be doing too much damage. The same with Flamethrower, even with the boost under Sun, I don't know if it's going to be that helpful. Psychic is still stab, and it will still do damage, but you're probably bringing counters to that anyway. But overall, I think this is a really good fight. I think Claydol and Xatu have good chemistry together. I think Lunatone and Solrock have less, but them switching in on the replaced Xatu or Claydol really makes this fight a lot more challenging than it was in, like, Ruby and Sapphire beforehand. But all you really need to do is bring some good water and dark types, and this fight is pretty easy, especially if you have dark types because they're immune to any of the psychic attacks, and Xatu and Lunatone only have psychic as their damaging move. So that's just kind of two members of their team that you can just have for free. In the new fight against Tate and Liza, I wanted to expand their team a bit, and it's kind of unfair just having 5 Pokemon in a double battle. It's not unfair, it's just, it doesn't really make sense, especially when it's 2 trainers. So why not just bump that to 6? Especially as we're at the 7th gym, the trainer should be experienced enough to handle 6 Pokemon by now. They keep the 4 original Pokemon they had, Claydol, Xatu, Lunatone, and Sorok, but now they also have an Alakazam and a Gardevoir. I know they're just 2 pure Psychic types, but they are 2 of the strongest out there. Claydol keeps its exact moveset just because I think it's good enough. Earthquake, Psychic, Ancient Power, Light Screen, all really good, all very valuable for this fight. Xatu gets Air Cutter over Confuse Ray. I think Confuse Ray was providing the least value here, and I might as well give it an attack that can hit Dark types. Lunatone gets Rock Slide over Light Screen. If you were going to set up Light Screen, I think Claydol would have done it already, and it would last long enough at this point. And again, just giving Lunatone the ability to just hit Dark types if there are any there. I've actually swapped out Psychic on Solrock for Rock Slide. I just don't think it needs to be using Psychic, especially when the other 5 Pokemon have this move, and Solrock is getting the least value out of it. So I might as well put on Rock Slide here, and I think the Sunny Day strat is good. Both of them have also kept their citrus berries, so they will heal if their HP gets low enough. Alakazam and Gardevoir actually come in at level 44, just because I think having a higher level for this gym fight is fine. Again, there's a lot of trainers you can do, you have access to Surf and all of the Surf routes in this part of Hoenn. So Alakazam has Psychic, Shockwave, Calm Mind, and Knockoff actually. Shockwave is there to deal with any water types you might have brought to try and spam Surf. It has Calm Mind to set up, and that's also the TM that they give you after this fight. Alakazam is also holding a Twisted Spoon to boost its Psychic type damage. Finally, Gardevoir has Psychic, Hypnosis, Calm Mind, and Magical Leaf. Magical Leaf is there to get any water types again. Maybe you've brought a water ground type, so Gardevoir's handling that, and if you've brought like a Gyarados or a Pelipper, Alakazam can deal with that. Hypnosis is there to try and stall turns, maybe set up some Calm Minds in that process, but Gardevoir also has a Patea Berry, so if you get it to low health and it gets that special attack boost, you really have to watch what it's going to do next. Overall, I like the changes I've done, just adding these 2 more powerful Pokemon to this Psychic type team. It doesn't really enhance the team too much, it's still just 2 pure Psychic types that you can take a Dark type to and you'll probably be fine. But having those extra coverage moves, having those extra Pokemon really drag out this fight a bit longer to really make sure the player can endure a strong fight. Hoenn is a weird gym leader. He's another water type Pokemon user similar to Wallace, but the Pokemon he uses are just not that great. For some reason he starts with a Love Disc that knows Water Pulse, Attract, Sweet Kiss and Flail. This is completely useless, it doesn't even set up Rain for his team, I don't even know why it's here. It's too weak, its moves are bad. What are you doing? Next up he has a Whiscash. This one can set up Rain Dance, but it is 4 times weak to grass and has nothing to really combat that. It does have Earthquake, which is good, but its main stab move is Water Pulse, which I know it's the TM from this gym, but we have Surf already. Why are we not using that? Then he has a Celio, which is only 1 level off of being a Walrein if we're going by typical evolution levels, which most Hoenn gym leaders don't, as we've seen. I don't know why he doesn't have a Walrein if he's going to have this. It has Encore, Body Slam, Aurora Beam and Water Pulse. Again, Ice Beam and Surf have been available, why are we not using these? Then he has a Crawdaunt. Crawdaunt's just kind of underwhelming as a Pokemon anyway, with Water Pulse, Crabhammer, Taunt and Leer. I don't know why it's got Leer, if it's got no physical moves to use, and also no dark moves to use, so it's just kind of pointless. Cramphammer's pretty decent at least. Similar to Winona, his only threatening Pokemon is his last one, which is his Kingdra, and the only reason it's kind of threatening is because it has Double Team and it has Rest with a Chesto Berry. This means that Kingdra's going to last for a while, especially because Hoenn has some full restores on him that he can use, which gives it the time to set up double teams, so you might miss it, and then it can Water Pulse you, maybe confuse you, Ice Beam you, maybe freeze you. Like, this thing is just gonna stall for time and wear you down, and it's really, really annoying. I feel like Hoenn's team is also a bit underleveled. Again, the 5 level difference between Luvdisc and Kingdra, like Pokemon 1 and 5 again, why are we doing this? There's no point. I think some key flaws with Hoenn's team is just the lack of power from the Pokemon. Luvdisc, Whiscash, Celio, and Crawdon are just all very middling water-type Pokemon in a region full of really strong ones. I know they wanted to reserve them for Wallace, but ugh. I also don't like them making a water-type gym leader again if they're going to make Wallace champion. Like, we could have just done something else. I had some cool ideas for what Hoenn could go with, though, so I'll get into that with his newer version. Hoenn, like Tate and Liza, now has 6 Pokemon, and they're all going to have held items. This is the last gym. You really need something to challenge you at this point. He starts with a Relicanth, holding a Heartstone with the moves Surf, Rain Dance, Rock Slide, and Earthquake. Relicanth also received a slight buff to its special attack, so its water moves will deal a bit more damage than usual. Next up, he keeps his Whiscash, this time with Rain Dance, Surf, Rest, and Earthquake, so we've just swapped Water Pulse out for Surf, just so it does more damage, and it's holding a Soft Sand to make Earthquake deal even more damage. After that is Walrein, which has Encore, Body Slam, Ice Beam, and Surf, again just upgraded Aurora Beam and Water Pulse, so its stab moves are actually dealing damage, and evolving Celio because it really should be at this point. It's the last gym, why is it not fully evolved Pokemon? It's also holding a Citrus Berry to make its fighting last longer. After that is actually Huntail. So Huntail got a buff to its speed stat, and it's also a Water and Dark Pokemon now. And it has the moves Body Slam, Hydro Pump, Rock Tomb, and Crunch with Black Glasses as its held item to make Crunch deal a bit more damage. After that is Gorobis, which is now a Water and Psychic type Pokemon with Psychic, Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, and Rain Dance. I'm really trying to get this Rain Dance going on this team. And it's also holding a Twisted Spoon to boost Psychic's damage a bit. Of course, he keeps his Ace Kingdra with the Chesto Berry still as rest, this time with Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, and Twister. Again, the same Twister buff from earlier, and I think it fits Kingdra really well. All of Hoenn's Pokemon are now level 46, except for Kingdra, who is now level 48, so the levels have been buffed quite a bit. This fight is also going to be a double battle like Tate and Liza's, where Tate and Liza kind of specialise in sunny weather. Hoenn definitely wants rain. He really wants this rain setup. Overall, I think this is a much better fight than base Hoenn. I almost said Wallace. I mean, they're basically the same, let's be real. But, yeah. He has new Pokemon with new types, so you get to see those. He really is going to be trying to set up the rain on you. He has 6 Pokemon now. It's a double battle. I really think this fight will be a lot more difficult and will need a lot of attention from the player. Even if they're just trying to bring grass and electric type Pokemon, there's a lot of coverage going on here. So that is it for all the changes that I'd make to the Hoenn gym leaders, with added context of the changes that I've already made to the Pokemon available in Pokemon Edited Emerald. If you want to give the game a go, I'll leave the links in my description for the patch file and for the documentation that you might want to look through. Thank you for watching, and if you liked, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. And please let me know what else you want to see. Bye!